Welcome to another episode of Smithereens. I'm your co-host, Tom.
And this is your co-host, Jared.
And today we are talking about camaraderie in food.
Today we are joined again by Chrissy and Colin as we discuss why we love food.
Yep, we talk about making food together, sitting down having food together, and why making food is a big part of our retreat.
Sit back, get hungry, and thanks for joining us. I'm pretty full right now. Had a good day eating here at the office.
It's true. A lot of food.
Yeah.
A lot of food.
A lot of like the world's most empty calories. Like I'm like full but exhausted.
Yeah.
Like
I'm like full
Zero
exhausted.
nutrition.
yeah, zero. What you brought has some, but like I brought fucking Cheetos.
Yeah.
We didn't
French
say
fries.
full in a good way.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like full and like sad at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, full of yeah.
And happy, though. It was good.
Yeah,
It was
it
a lot
was
of good
good.
stuff. So I guess we should say today we had, what number potluck is this, Colin?
5 or 4.
Well, so
4 or
we've
5?
done Viva la Mexico.
Right.
We've done
Shout out.
Mambo Italiano.
Hey, Mambo.
We've done-
Italiano.
Dips.
Yeah.
That was the first one, wasn't it? Wasn't Dips? Dips was the first one.
Yeah. And Dips kind of became bring whatever you want.
Uh-huh.
Mostly because some people didn't participate properly. Me, I brought donuts. And then today was snacks. Next month is going to be, you're going to have to wait till next month.
Oh, man.
Cliffhanger. So,
thought
Colin,
you were
like you're championing this for the office here. So I guess what was your reasoning behind like starting like a monthly potluck, and kind of give us like what how we do it and why we do it.
Yeah, so we, on the last Friday of every month, we do a potluck, with different themes, as we just discussed here. And I guess it was something of my brainchild, just the idea of making it a regular thing, because I do believe deeply in the importance of team for our organization, and really for any small team. It's a leadership principle I hold near and dear. And I think that one really just sort of effortless, natural way to build team is to both eat together and take the time and really just eat, because there's a certain amount of like vulnerability in it.
Yeah.
I think. And B, like allow everyone to participate and like chip in, and everybody feels like they're a part of something bigger at that point too.
Yeah.
So, and we try to do a handful of events per year at least, where like, you don't have to, the team doesn't have to lay out, and we'll just get something catered or go to dinner or whatever the case may be. But, there's real value in everybody having some skin in the game with a potluck sort of feel. So.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, it's a nice thing, as we did today, of like whatever anyone brought, we kind of like, I think everyone likes to single that person out and be like, oh, this is so great, and yada, yada, yada. Like there's like a mutual praise between everyone. You know what I mean? But I know, like, even outside of those potlucks, when we've had food here, we all end up around like the table and have like some good conversations. I mean, the one time we even talked about potential podcast topics, and even like,
Yeah, we did.
Not that those are always used for talking about business, of course, but like we have good conversations, I think, around food as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we are in the business of conversations to an extent. Like we need to be, every single person on this team needs to be someone who is interesting and interested and engaging and engaged. And the art of conversation is, paramount in all of that. Like, so anything that we can do to help facilitate that or encourage it is just never going to lose importance. And, and I think Chrissy, I'm sure has insight into this as well.
Yeah, I talk a lot about how we are here for a majority of our day, and we're here 5 days a week with each other. And so we're all individuals, but we all have lives outside of here too. And what I love about doing a potluck, or even on our retreat, how we had teams making meals for everybody.
Yeah,
that was huge. That it brings a little bit, like I get to find out a little bit more about who someone is outside of these walls at
for
home.
Sure.
And like whatever they're bringing, right? So like, for instance, like Delmar had like this cool tray thing and like sliced up stuff. Makes like the best salsa we've ever had. It's like,
yeah, it's true.
it's another talent, another something that he's into that we get to learn about and share with him, and then just grows us closer. And it's that individual that you get to learn about and spotlight, but also we're together as a team sharing it. So it's both those things together that I love.
Yeah, and Tom is a good example of this too, in a funnier way to me, where Tom, you think deeply about food and tastes, and and you talk, you create a picture with words of I made this last night. First I chiffoned some basil, or I don't fucking know. It's a very.
I've definitely never done that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if chiffon's even the right word.
Chiffon's like a cake, right?
I don't know what that word means.
Yeah. I don't know. You go to all these steps of preparation.
Yeah.
Today, it's Frito cheese dip and pretzels, and it's do this shit that's delicious, right? And you're like, this is delicious. Try it, and that's it's an insight for sure. It's you're not, and I know you well enough, and you're never stuck up in it. But I don't care about food the way you care about food typically.
Sure.
I care about some fucking cheese dip that tastes good though, for sure. That's
we all get behind that.
Yeah. I was speaking Colin's language.
Yeah, and so it's a different sort of connection. And also, if we weren't on this podcast, I probably never would have talked about that. But I certainly had the thought. So yeah.
I think that, but all of us, I don't think any of us are necessarily passive about food. I think that's a nice part about it too. You know what I mean? I have friends and I've had coworkers that are very passive about I eat the same lunch. I've eaten the same lunch for 2 years. I don't care. I just need to eat food when I eat food. And that, to me, I'm that's so horrifying.
I know.
But I think we all enjoy it, and I think we all, especially with these events and on the retreat, that's a good point too. I wanted to bring that up. I think we all kind of there's an element of pride in it too. When Chrissy and I were on the breakfast team.
Oh yeah.
And we did the little printout menus.
I think it's fair to say you and Chrissy were the breakfast team.
Yes.
You had one member of your team that was kind of in absentia. That member also diligently listens to these podcasts and gives feedback. So I love you, man.
He was doing coffee.
He was doing coffee.
Firing the Keurig up,
And he was helping out for the last 30 minutes that we were doing it.
For sure,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. Props for props.
Better late than never,
That's true. But we had so much fun in that, and kind of Chrissy and I made this little assembly line of how we were doing it, and I was
what did you guys make?
We did breakfast sandwiches. We did custom made breakfast sandwiches. So
Yes.
I had pitched it to Chrissy that I came up with a little fill-in menu that we gave to everybody to kind of check off what they want out of their breakfast sandwich, and then we made them per each person.
But this was no joke. I mean, there were 3 different kinds of sauces on top of vegetables,
4
on
different
top
cheeses.
of cheeses. And do we have different kinds of bread? We had different kinds of bagels.
Different kinds of bagels.
Yeah.
And then we had different kinds of meat too.
Yeah.
We did sausage,
Yes, we did.
bacon, and I think ham even.
Yeah, I mean, we catered to these people.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Made
I will
to
admit
order.
that me waking up in my own private room at the retreat, opening the door and just smelling those breakfast sandwiches being made, and waking up at the right moment when mine was done, it was one of the best feelings I've ever had.
I'm glad we were able to provide that for you.
For me, I opened up the door of the closet that I was sleeping in. Soaked in sweat, just air rushed in, and it happened to be scented by bacon, so it was lovely. So,
But the idea of
Both true
dancing
stories.
around the kitchen together, right? And so you're at home, you're making dinner, and that's a fun place for you to be creative and do things, but do that with coworkers and not people you live with is fun and another creative expression for us too.
For sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of organizations do something like this, and I feel, to Colin's point, it is very important because you get people who might do the same thing every day for lunch, or who might never communicate what they like or what they don't like to eat. You get a glimpse of what they're into, maybe dietary restrictions, maybe a family recipe that was passed down, that they can share and talk about while you're enjoying it. So
for sure.
It's very important.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We've what I like is seeing a good balance that we do in a small agency. So there's 10 of us, of dietary restrictions. So people who maybe are lactose or even, vegetarian or vegan, and how people bring things that, not everything that we bring in a potluck is lactose free or meatless. And so like we make sure that there's a mixture of those things for everybody to eat, but it's not like we're super like hard lined about, I'm not going to bring this because so-and-so can't eat it.
Right.
It's like, we'll eat something else.
Yeah. There's enough of us here, I think, that it all shakes out.
Yeah, we do a good job with that.
Yeah.
For
I'm
sure.
impressed by that.
Yeah. Colin, what team were you on for?
I was on lunch team.
Ooh, tough team.
Tough team, right?
That's a
'Cause
tough
it's
team.
to like middle of the day. What are you gonna do? Is anybody excited? And it was myself, Devin, and Renee. And so I sort of am not an accomplished cook in any real way. So I had like a pork shoulder that I woke up early and got it in the slow cooker so we could do it. I did it for 6 hours or 8 hours, something like that, and it was ready by 2 p.m. So I contributed in that way. But Devin was like, I make killer potatoes. He was like stoked on it, and I'll tell you that he was working up a storm in there. And I tried to help as I could, but and it didn't. I think that he would say they didn't quite come to what he had in his mind. They were delicious.
I
though.
thought they were great.
Yeah, they were great. And then I had I'm talking about dietary restrictions. Renee as this is the vegan in our company, vegetarian.
Yeah. Pescatarian?
Pescatarian. Yeah.
But so she made I had the pulled pork. She did like a pulled jackfruit.
That was awesome.
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah.
Which is just like cool to see that the creativity of that, and like the teamwork in that. So that really in the middle of the day piece and on the retreat, I think food is again like a central thing that like, okay, work and then let's have some fun and we break up into little groups and talk. But then like sitting around the dinner table brings everybody back together, right?
Let's talk about that. So there's something like
the
it's
dinner
great.
table too.
Yeah,
So,
and it's sitting down, making it together, like being involved. But then I have a pet peeve of when you have people over for dinner or when you're sitting down with a group.
Yeah.
And there's not enough seats at the table for everybody to sit down. Unless it's like a grab your dish and go, go in the other room, watch TV or do this or do that or float around.
Or if it's like a ton
If it's
of people
supposed to
or
be like a
something.
sit down dinner, like you got to have enough room
Cheeks
at the
and
table.
seats.
You got to you got to have enough seats for the cheeks.
Do you do a kids table?
Yeah, we do a kids table because they have different conversation topics than we do. But so I love
Politics.
Drugs.
the yield curve just inverted. Oh my god.
We had our breakfast and our lunch, and that was great. People were kind of like sitting around on the couches. But then when we sat down for dinner, and Jared, I want you to talk about dinner because that was bomb. But that was fun because we all sat around the table together.
Yeah, so dinner team, we kind of try to elevate because it's the last meal that we're technically going to have during the retreat. And so we ended up making dinner menus, and we did homemade pasta, homemade sauce, and then we did a chicken parmigiani. I'm looking at Chrissy for this.
Yeah.
And then we did an eggplant.
Parmigiani definitely doesn't sound right.
And did an eggplant
Parm.
Pagani. Yeah, so it was me, Rob, and then we had Andy and Katie on dinner team too. So ended up getting some fresh pasta from Marble and Rye. Shout out. Bringing that with us during the retreat and using that as our pasta. Then we ended up making our sauce and obviously the chicken and the eggplant we kind of did as well too.
So I don't know if you have meals that like sit with you like forever. Like that is a meal in my mind. It like locked into like my long-term memory.
That dinner?
Like, yeah.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, that what for me because it was Italian too and it was homemade pasta. I don't want to get homemade pasta all the time.
I was so full after that meal.
At least you.
But I tell you what, all of those leftovers, I crushed them in the week. Super good.
I'm jealous.
I tried to sell some pizzas at the end of that trip, but
We learned our lesson for this year.
yeah, we sure did.
So, do you guys think that food and like dinner or like is like a tool? Like how people treat golf like as a new business tool? Can like food and like be a tool in itself?
I'm sorry to jump in. Just like, I think it's like you go out to dinner with people, right? That's like a social thing, and the very act of eating with them is what. It's not what makes it social, but it's what makes it's like it underpins a lot of it, right? It's like different than going out for drinks. Or even like think of like the dating world. Going out for a meal is way different than going out for drinks.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
So,
There's a lot more. It feels maybe a little more personal, and especially like if you're sitting down to dinner, either if it's at home or at a restaurant, something like that kind of like one-on-one connection.
Yeah,
it forms a bigger bond. And I honestly, when I think about us like sitting down to dinner, because like we've all, for the 4 people here, this is not our first job. So, and I'm sure you guys have also gone out to meals with other companies, but it's like a nice thing here where it really feels kind of like a family dinner. We're all talking and laughing and joking and telling stories and whatever the case may be. Where I've definitely had other work dinners that felt just like, oh, we're working and eating is a very side part of it, which kind of is unfortunate because you want it to feel, I think, maybe like that. In
past jobs, I've tried really hard to always sit like in the middle of the table because I felt like I needed to like stir the pot a little bit. And here at Mr. Smith, like I'm happy to sit on the end because like the pot is stirred.
And I think I don't know this. I'm kind of thinking about it right now. We all sit and talk all day,
right?
And so we get our work done and we're focused, or we have our headphones on here and there. But I think maybe it feels more like a family dinner because we're not in boxes. We're not enclosed. We see each other, turn around, look at each other, and interact all throughout the day like a family would.
Right.
So maybe, we know more about each other. We know how to tease and we know topics to talk about. And,
yeah, for sure. For sure. It feels friendlier in that kind of way. I think especially now that we have I think people will break off now too and sit back here. You know what I mean? I'm saying here like anyone can see what I'm pointing.
This is an audio medium that we're operating in here. But
well, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see. But people that sit back in the workshop and work on projects. But I think, I feel lately we've been all very busy. So I feel like today's potluck was very nice. So we all could kind of hang out, eat some sundaes that were great.
The feeling like a family meal, that's awesome and exactly what the goal is to a certain extent. I mean, it's a business, and it's a business, and it just is.
Of course.
But certainly we want to at least approximate an idea of familial closeness, because at any one given moment, we need to work for each other, and that to me, it's for each other. It's outside of yourself, and that's what family is at its best, right?
Sure.
But so I think even actually my actual family, it's rare that I get together with my family where a meal isn't central to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So
I feel
in
that.
some way or another,
Same.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we just had a family vacation with my family, and we did the Low Country Boil, which is you get a big pot and you throw shrimp and kielbasa and potatoes and corn, all in this pot.
Hell yeah.
With a bucket of Old Bay seasoning.
Oh, hell yeah.
And then there's no plates, no silverware. You literally just pour out the boil on paper in the middle of the
I've
table.
had one of those before.
And everyone just kind of grabs and goes. So that's a tradition of a great meal that we sit down with Colin's wife Lindsay's family on the 4th of July. It's awesome. So Dan and I literally live for that. So we've carried that onto our family vacations. But that was where the kids loved it. Everybody loved it.
Yeah.
And we all sat around. We talked about it. We engaged. It wasn't just grab your plate, put your salad on your plate, sit down, eat. Now someone's crying, someone's doing this. All these distractions. It was the most engaged dinner that we had on vacation, which was really cool. So it's almost like a thing,
Right.
Dinner can be so regular or so,
for sure.
You eat just because we got to eat.
It's
right?
regimented.
Dinner. It's regimented.
Yeah.
How was your day?
Yeah.
And there's still value in that. There's still beats of a day in that. But
of course.
at special times, a special meal
Right.
puts a new lens on the depth of emotions and feelings you have for the people around you.
They probably asked Dan 6 times, so then what did you do? And then what did you do? Making this meal. And it was well, wait, if you're listening. No one's listening. They're so engaged with it. They're oh, I want to know. Tell me again, It was great.
I think food is very, very interesting. Like, my family didn't really have like a Sunday dinner or anything like that. Like your family might, or someone else's family.
I grew up with a Sunday dinner.
Yeah, so like
same.
we didn't really do that just because of the way, like, pretty smallish family. But excuse me, my parents would like work at night, so it wasn't like at like 6 o'clock they were ready to take a nap before they worked at 10. So it was like, you know, we didn't really have. It was kind of just, you know, we made some food and eat. So, you know, growing up, I would be so interested in like what other families were making, and like I'm a pretty big dude, and I don't really turn away food, but I always like to like.
You're also a very good like cook though.
Yeah, because I'm very curious about like other cultures and what people eat. Like I'll watch people cook food, I'll watch cooking shows, I'll watch like documentaries, just because I like to know like what other families are into. So when I used to work for the bank, I would always like, if I have a great client who's maybe not from America, or you know they cook and they're whatever, I'll ask like, hey, have you do anything this weekend? Like, you know, bring me in a plate or whatever.
Oh,
and I would get like the most craziest stuff, and all the food was super good. I would come in and like I had this customer from Ecuador, and he brought me in this like Ecuadorian dish, and it was like super good, and like
Oh my gosh.
people from Somalia, and just bring me in food. It was like the best like
Oh, wow.
tip or gift I would get, because it
love
was like,
that.
hey, we cooked this for you. Like
Yeah.
I got invited to like holiday parties. Like a couple of my clients were Muslim, so after like, you know, Eid and stuff like that, they would have me over and bring me dishes. It was awesome. So like that thing, you can just see like their family and their history and their culture in a specific dish. So, you know, that's really what riles me up about food.
Well, and that relationship is very much to sort of the impetus for this conversation here today. Like that was a connection born almost totally through your willingness to say, if you're going to cook for me, then I'm going to respect and appreciate
Yeah,
that,
of
right?
course.
And like,
Yeah.
and like we'll share this thing together. That's like,
Yeah.
and eat, like break bread, right? It's
Right.
yeah.
Well, I think that's also like food is one of those things. Like making a meal for someone, I think, is one of those. I feel like Colin, you've touched on this already, but like that's a great way to show how much you care about someone or a group of people. You know what I mean? If you have your friends over for dinner, you're making food for them, like, and you're actually like putting in the time and putting in the effort. Like that is, I mean, at the end of the day, for me, like time is the most valuable currency or asset that you have. It's the most limiting thing. You don't get any more of it. And so to take your time and use it to prepare food for someone else, that's like such a nice, I'm sure you felt that way about like these clients, that they would pull you into that and be like, this is for you. We want to give this to you.
Yeah. Well, like I guess I never understood. Like when I was growing up, my dad would be like, you know, he would make something. He was like, how is it? I'm like, that's good. And like, you see me eating it, you know, it's good, whatever.
Right.
But like, as I'm growing up and making food for my wife or family, it's like, there's such an emotional connection, because you never ever want to hear negative feedback on something that you cook. You know what I mean? Like,
that is
you just never want that to happen. So like, you try your hardest, like to do the things and your capabilities with what you have and the resources that you have
for sure.
to make something taste really good. So it's like, you try to get as creative as possible to like impress someone.
Oh,
even though you're married or you're married to that person, or that, you know, they're your kid, you know, they're going to eat it regardless, but you just want to impress them because it's such a part of like what you do, you know?
Absolutely.
So the little cooking that I do and the few things I've tried, whenever I do bring them somewhere, I'm like, this is awful. Like, don't even like set the bar as low as possible, right? Because you do naturally get nervous about it. That's the thing.
Do you really think it's awful though? Or are you really just trying to set the bar low?
No, he
and then
thinks
they
it's
come to you
awesome.
and,
Yeah, right. Like, I'm like, if I bring it to you, I like it, and I'm like, hey, if you guys don't eat it, I'm gonna eat it. Like, so I don't put a lot of personal pride in it. Like, I've often thought, like, if you go to a party where it is a potluck or something like that, it's super socially stressful because you feel like you need to eat everything. I think even here sometimes, like,
I get
you're
that.
like, we all look at it's like, oh, you brought this. This is delicious. And it's like, I don't fucking like that. I don't. But I have to like tell you that I like it to a certain extent. So it's not even that.
What are you saying about my Fritos cheese dip, man?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Hated those donuts, man. Why'd you bring them in?
Yes, I mean snacks is a great potluck topic because
Yeah.
it's just going to be easy to please, right? But
That's true.
I wasn't even making real points.
Well,
there.
I mean, we all like think about it this way, like going back to that original comment, like we all know, like, you know, Mike Dimmer, the chef at Marble and Rye, and like
best dimmer.
you can tell, have a 5-minute conversation with him about food, and you can tell how passionate he is about just cooking. So it's like you can see from a chef like what it means to him to put out a dish.
Yeah.
And we, as like everyday home cooks, or try to be home cooks, is just we try to inject that same passion, creativity in what we do at our home. So
Right. And with him, I mean, like when it comes to a profession, I mean, like it's a way to connect with someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like being creative people in a pretty creative field, that's our kind of goal too. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it goes hand in hand that we would want to cook for each other as a way of, wanting to connect with one another, while also creating content and working on things with clients as a way for hopefully them to connect to their audiences that they're trying to reach.
Do you have a thing that you cook that is like your go-to when you want to be impressive, or not even be impressive, but like know that you're going to make someone happy?
Oh man, I used to.
And that's to the room here.
I make a really good macaroni and cheese. And so, like, if I'm going to, like...
That's some comfort food.
Yeah, if I'm going to a party, like one of Rihanna's friend's house, or, like, a holiday party, and we have to bring something, that's usually my go-to to make. Yeah.
Like, always the same recipe?
You just switch it up. Play with the cheeses a little bit, but usually...
So you get the ratio? Or,
yeah, same ratio.
Yeah.
But really, what's in there?
I can't tell you, man.
Is that
Good try, though. Good try. Yeah.
Is that the next potluck? Everyone brings in a mac and cheese?
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I think everyone bringing
Also
the food
nice
that
try.
impresses someone is a good category, but that's
Yeah.
not the next one. The next one is much more basic.
I used to do I did a good dish that was like a baked salmon and like sweet potato kind of like sticks, sort of, so like cutting up a sweet potato and
like
stick.
a skewer?
A little bit, yeah. With
Like a fry?
What?
Like a french fry?
No, not really. It's a little hard to explain.
Tom,
but then
do a better job describing sticks.
Come on, man.
Sweet potato. We'll just leave it at that. Sweet potato,
Baked salmon.
baked salmon, like baked salmon with some garlic, Brussels sprouts, so it would be roasted, and then sweet potato that I would top with cinnamon and honey butter. And so that would be my like thing. Like if I had
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So that's not one thing. That's like
It's like a meal.
It's a meal. Like you
But it was a
prepare
meal that I was like,
meal.
all
Yeah.
these things go well together. I
Yeah.
know how to cook all these things very well.
That's super fascinating, though. You'd want that to put that plate, the entire plate, in front of someone.
Yes.
You put one thing. It's okay, and maybe that is the meal, but like maybe you still
Sure.
add something to it. Like
Yeah, and also, like, that's like, I'm black, so that's like our thing. Like,
wait, I don't see color.
every like black wedding, black funeral, black family party, it's like
Mac and
who's
cheese.
making macaroni and cheese? And
Sure.
you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not having that. You know what I mean? So it's like a thing. It's like
Yeah.
And like even like my dad had his own recipe, my aunt had her own recipe, variations on one another. But like they're like, oh, like, you know, you judge. That's like the thing you judge.
Yeah,
So
sure.
did everyone kind of take in your family? Did everyone kind of like take pride in their recipe? Like,
Oh yeah,
I was the one that was. The
everyone's macaroni and cheese was the best.
Do people take scoops of each?
Yeah,
mac
well,
and
like
cheese? Or
you,
is
but
there
the
like,
thing
oh,
is,
no,
like,
that's Jared's,
if
that
I'm
makes
going,
sense.
let's say, Chris, if I'm going to your house and you're gonna make the macaroni and cheese, I can't bring, I can't
yep.
bring that at that
Yeah.
point. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't try to.
it's disrespectful if I try to bring my
man.
macaroni and cheese. You know?
some rules.
Yeah.
Chrissy, what's
Rules to the
yours?
game.
I got a couple for different situations. There's a tiramisu that I make.
Really?
That's pretty good
Okay.
Dessert, huh?
in the dessert category. And I have like particularly for that, for bringing places, because I have like a pan that's good. It's got a top on it. Like, it's all about the Tupperware and stuff. Like, there's an appropriate pan for my
It's all
tiramisu that
about
like
the
works
Tupperware.
really good.
Yeah.
There's the sandwich that I've made that Colin actually brought up today and asked me when I'm going to make it again.
Sandwich.
It's like this long ciabatta bread that you kind of gut a little bit, and then there's all different kinds
Put
of
the
cured
fixings in there.
meats. fresh mozzarella,
cured meat.
pesto.
Hold on. What kind of meat are you putting
Oh,
on the
there's
sandwich?
prosciutto, there's ham,
A Peugeot.
and capicola, I think. It's good. Salami. There's definitely salami on there too. And then you got like marinated artichoke and roasted red pepper and all this good stuff. So it's just like real oily and marinated and good. Dan actually found that recipe. It's good. And then I'd say sauce and meatballs if you're coming over.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's...
Do you make your own sauce?
Yeah. Yeah, it's the family recipe. But like the meatballs depends like who's coming over. Like do you know, I'm not gonna tell you the recipe, but there's like the lower fat recipe and the higher fat recipe.
I have a question for you, Chrissy. My friend Dan, he's very Italian, and we were in California and this past March, and you know we're getting pasta. He's like, oh, well, we can't eat pasta. You gotta get butter and we can't get sauce. I'm like, what do you mean? There's like sauce right here. He's like, you can't just buy sauce. You gotta like buy the sauce. You gotta put sugar in the sauce. You gotta do it. I'm like, what are you talking about? Get this ragu, man, and be done. And he got really mad at me for that. And like, do you have like, if you buy store bought sauce, do you like spice it up?
No, I don't spice it up.
Do you buy store-bought sauce?
I buy chef sauce.
Okay.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out. I love chef sauce. It's quick and easy if I don't have sauce. So in my family, my dad makes sauce, and he makes a big pot, and we get like containers of frozen sauce to go home with. So when that container runs out and I want to make pasta, I use my jar of sauce. So it's like depends on when like dad's making the sauce and how much I get. Now, 2 of my siblings live in Cleveland, and I live closest to my parents.
So do you get more sauce?
I get more sauce, and my kids really like it, and they tell him that they really like it. So, like, a couple extra meatballs in my container kind of thing.
You have the recipe to that sauce?
That's what I make, yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say.
How old? Is there an age limit? Like, is there a requirement how old you have to be to get that sauce? Like, to get the recipe?
To be able to make the recipe?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta, like, know math and be able to, like, open and close containers. I think
But there's no rite of passage.
Yeah, so you gotta sit down with somebody and make it with them together.
Gotcha.
And then...
Is this like a family recipe that's been passed down?
It's a family recipe.
Wow.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
When did you learn your dad's mac and cheese?
He never wrote down anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Like his mom never wrote down anything, so it was like passed through. So it was like I
verbal?
cooked with him since I was a kid. So like
Just like eyeballing it and watching it.
Yeah. So it's I don't know, it's like cooking and baking are two different things. Like baking, you have to be
Absolutely.
super precise.
True.
But cooking is like a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Does it taste okay? You know, is it where I wanted to be? And then that is now your recipe. You know, so like I took what he showed me and like put my own little finesse on, and then like when I pass it down to my kids, like I'll let them do the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Colin, do you have any like family passed down recipes? Anything that you?
Not really. I'm just really not a good cook, and anything that I've gotten a bit better since I met Lindsay. But I do have a semi-funny story I think about it. So I'm from, my background is such that my parents like really didn't stay together, and I don't know if they were ever the best fit really. But like my mom used to tell this story that she like meeting my dad's parents for the first time. She they were gonna have pasta and sauce, and my mom like made this homemade sauce. And my mom was a good cook, and the older I get, the more I recognize that. I never thought of her as a great cook when I was younger, but like she was good, and she tried stuff and like put in effort. Yeah. And so she did all this, and my grandma on my dad's side, who's just a sweet old lady now, but was kind of a bitch before, I guess. Like gave her shit that it wasn't like ragu or prego, like because that's like what they did. She's like, you could have just saved time and just gotten ragu. And my mom was just like, well, cool, like my bad,
My God.
Yeah. So I've always thought that to be a funny story. So my answer to like if I was gonna like make something special for you, I would just buy you a pizza and just like have a fucking great conversation with you while I'm not worried about cooking something. And like and just like that's just who I am, you know. So yeah.
Here's the pizza, and the treat is that we're gonna talk.
By the way, you're welcome.
No, I think that's very important too. I mean, there has to be like food, especially if you're with family or you're entertaining a client or whatever. It has to be a medium of like, it has to be A, delicious, and B, functional, where you can like still talk and like do your thing and like
function. A perfect word. Yeah. Like, yeah.
So I appreciate that answer, Colin, because like, you know, house a couple slices of pizza and have a beer and you're off to the conversation races.
Yeah, and if I'm trying to cook something, it's going to take every ounce of my attention because I'm not confident. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't like play good host and good cook.
Right.
I can barely do either. Like so, like by itself. I mean, so.
And I think people too have there's spectrums to cooking. It's like I like to shop, like I like the grocery shop. So it starts with there. Like I like to be in the grocery store. I like to like I like to plan my thing. I like to do my thing in there.
Sure.
And like bring it home. Then like when I bring my groceries home, I like to organize my fridge at that point. And I like clean. So I like to like I'm controlling the process from like start to finish. It shows you my personality. And then like when it comes time to cooking, you know, put on a little music, you know, have a beer, have some wine, whatever, and then like, you're doing your thing at that point. And then you're done when, you know, you put that plate on the table. You're like, oh, I did that. You know, I did that. So
there's
it's
definitely
like
a point of pride in that.
Yeah.
For
Where
sure.
like my wife, like she hates shopping. She also hates cooking. It's like doesn't see like
How does she feel about washing dishes?
Yeah, well, like she'll help me like clean up, you know. But like if I'm cooking and I'm in the kitchen, like I like to be like if I'm in the kitchen cooking, like I don't want to be like I'm in the kitchen, like you know, watch TV or something. Like I want to be able to like listen to my music, concentrate on what I'm doing, and not have to carry a conversation. I'm like
be in your
I like to be in my thing, you know, like it took us a long time to realize like you hate doing this, so like I like doing this. Like let's separate that.
Yeah, it's inverted gender role,
and it was
right?
like
So,
perfect.
yeah.
And she's like, and it's been working out great. But it's like for the longest time, I'm like, you have to learn how to cook. You have to learn how to do this. I'm like, and she's like, I don't enjoy doing that. I don't see the value in doing that because her dad was in the military, and so a lot of her meals growing up were just about like throw these eggs in the microwave and like put it on bread and eat it.
Something.
Eat something.
Yeah.
like
And, like,
utilitarian eating.
The first time she made scrambled eggs for me, she like scrambled up in a bowl, put the bowl in the microwave, and like
I
was like, what is this?
I would say the same thing, man.
I was like offended, and she's like, well, this is how I always eat them. I go, this is not right. Like you can't do this. And it like you know,
I will see you later. I'm leaving.
It was like
is
the
not right.
consistency of like the eggs you get from McDonald's on like the Egg McMuffins. It was
Yeah,
like
it's like-
airy and weird. I'm like, this is the worst thing.
Like artificial feeling.
Yeah.
Even
And
though
I'm
you know
like-
it's just eggs in there.
Yeah, I'm
but
like, you put a little butter in there, you know, put the egg in, and you're good to go.
Also, like that's like I feel like when I talk to friends now, I feel like I'm encroaching this age where, like, for the most part.
that's a funny. What is this? I'm just like
It was
picturing
weird.
in my head. I'm
It was
sorry.
weird.
But it's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm approaching this age. Like, you know, my friends and I will get together, and I think for the most part, most of us like cooking. But I still have a few friends who don't know how to cook, like anything. And we're like, I'm, you know, a year away from 30, and I have friends who are just like, yeah, I don't know how to make anything. I don't know how to make eggs. I don't know how to. I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not know how to do this? But I guess in that kind of situation, like you guys have a partnership of you like doing this and you kind of like doing it alone. So it's like good, but then you guys can kind of share it together and enjoy it together. Chrissy, do you think in your household, do you cook primarily? Does Dan cook? Do you guys both like to cook? What's the
it's
breakout?
kind of a cool shift. I always love cooking, and you know, Dan really likes to do the dishes, and so that was awesome. Wow. It was a great yin and yang off the bat, and I think that's kind of how we rolled. And often when I would come home, it was like, "What's in the fridge?" and I would like mix it all together over a pasta or something, and that was great, and it was awesome. So that was like. That's
That
like
makes
my
sense.
everyday cooking.
That makes
it
sense
does
because
make-
that's kind of what you do.
That's what I do
here
for lunch.
That's a great talent.
Yeah, it's
That
like,
is a great talent.
Let's just chop up these things and squirt this over there, and then blah, 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 it's fine. Since we've had kids, it definitely pulls you away from the dinner hour. You work, then you pick up the kids, and you go home, and it's like, well, someone's got to pay attention to some kids. Someone's got to cook, kind of thing. So Dan's really stepped it up since we've had kids in cooking. And like his comfort zone is the grill, but I recently bought him an air fryer. And so now whatever's in the freezer is like fair game for him to get at too and cook for dinner. So even like last night and the night before, he made dinner and he air fried some frozen shrimp and made pasta and put it over the pasta.
Ooh, all right.
And that was like, I like came home to that with some like asparagus. He threw asparagus in the air fryer too. Yep. And like that was like our dinner.
Huh.
I was like, what? This is incredible.
Wow.
If you're listening and don't have an air fryer, get one.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow.
I absolutely
I will
agree.
say after today, so what Jared did for today's potluck was French fries in the air fryer.
Yep.
And my mom has an air fryer and like loves it. But I've always just been passive. Like, there's no way that anything out of those could taste good. But to my surprise today, those fries were crispy as hell. They tasted great, and now I'm definitely.
I think
one is in my Amazon wish list.
Good.
It puts things that you would usually not take home from a restaurant. It's fair game now. Like, I didn't finish all my fries and my burger. Well, bring them. Throw them in the air fryer for a couple minutes, and they're crispy again. It's life changing.
Yeah. It's
Chicken,
great.
it makes chicken breast like palatable.
Yeah, very much.
Because it doesn't like dry it out.
Yeah.
Very much.
Now, Colin, for you and Lindsay, what do you guys both like to cook? Do you guys like to cook together? Does she like to cook?
I think that it's fair to say that she does more cooking than me, but I've learned some. I mean, there's certain things that I cook that are just super basic, like tacos.
Sure.
And literally, like you're talking like we're almost 30, and my friends don't cook anything. Like I really didn't learn until like Lindsay taught me how to cook tacos.
Okay.
Like growing up, like my mom like worked, and then like really a lot of in my like formative years, like she was like working a second job, and I like got a sub delivered every night and like hung out in a house by myself and ate my sub, So, so that to me is always that's where I default to. But two things that certainly resonate with like dishes, like. I like actively enjoy doing dishes. Mm-hmm. It's very satisfying to like get it done.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could pull any of that into me. I hate it. I hate it so much.
There's many nights where it sucks. But
actually, that talks about Lindsay too. So we had a party at her house, and Lindsay and I were hanging out in the kitchen. We were hanging out in a different room or whatever, and she pulled me into the kitchen, and Dan was like cleaning up from the party. He had like a towel over his shoulder or whatever, and she pulled me in the kitchen. She looked at me, and she goes, "That's girl porn."
That's
yeah.
Which is great.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. God, Colin's gonna take them all of their dishes from the office and just put them in the sink at home.
It's important.
Hey,
though.
honey, check this out.
It's that effort.
Is that reversal?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. So that's why I always appreciate it. I was just like, oh, just Dan does the dishes,
Colin's
and I'm like,
super red
oh,
right
okay, I should appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm super red. You said. Oh, I'm just thinking.
Think about them dishes.
Think about.
I would, but the other thing that resonated and that you and I would share that these guys don't necessarily is so much of this changes, and I think it really gets back to a lot of this, and like the ability to like eat together matters.
Yeah.
Once you have kids, I needed to be able to do some stuff because I can't just get home and be like, okay, well, you're cooking every night, and I'm just taking care of the kid every night, because that's like kind of unfair too, because it's like taking care of the kid is on paper the fun job at that, right? Because they're like you play with them and all that.
And
so
you bond.
yeah, and so if somebody's just stuck behind the oven every night, then that's just like unfair. And I very much strive towards fairness in most things. So
Right.
On that topic, to the best of your knowledge, how much of the baby food have you guys eaten in your life of your kids?
Zero for me.
I've had some, because I was just like, I'm giving this to these kids. I gotta taste it.
You gotta clear it.
What does
Might kill them. I don't give a shit. I might eat that.
Oh my god! Like purple carrots and plums mixed together. Like, what does that taste like? Because like my kids love it. And, like, is it good? And it tastes weird. It tastes weird.
But they gotta be.
That's weird.
All right. So George is what, 2?
3.5.
3.5.
Come on, man. 3.5, duh.
I don't expect you to know my kid's age. You're fine. Yeah. Just
but, like,
we'll see what happens come review time, Tom.
How old is everyone's children? No, but like I feel like at that point, like they're eating more like real, like they're not eating just like that kind of stuff anymore, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Well, my kid has an egg allergy, which is insidious. It makes its
that
way into
sucks.
everything, and like we could have done better. We could feed him vegetables. There's no egg and vegetables, but it was easier to feed him not vegetables than have egg. And because there are certain things that it becomes a difficult conversation with him for, but yeah, I think by and large, I mean, what's your perspective on that?
Yeah.
like you guys can kind of cook for them too at this point, right?
Oh
They're not
yeah,
just eating.
for sure. It's different. Kids go in waves with it. Like
Sure.
Hattie, my oldest, when she was like 1.5 and 2,
Yeah.
spends 2 days a week at my parents' house and woke up from a nap at like almost 2 years old. Woke up from a nap. My mom went up there and grabbed her and she goes, "Pasta fazool?" Like that. Like she like loved
Wow.
all food.
All
And
right.
she was a chunky baby. She was like really chubby. But like she ate anything and everything, and she was a really good eater then. And now it's chicken nuggets and pasta.
Oh, really?
Or meatballs or something, but like
Okay.
it's she's really
My kind of diet.
She doesn't like
Same.
she doesn't like vegetables, or we try to shove fruit down her throat, but it's tough now. So it's like
Yeah.
I asked my doctor. This is probably the worst thing my pediatrician could have told me, because I like took a mile with the inch she gave me. But in the beginning, I was like, she hasn't had like a ton of vegetables in the past couple days, and this is when Hattie was a better eater, and she was like, you know what? She was like, think about what your kid consumes like over a week span. Like, don't drill it down into like one day or
Sure.
whatever. Like, think about like a balanced diet over a week. And that was it. That was like, oh, fine, I don't have to worry about what she eats anymore. Like,
Cool. Thanks, Doc.
yeah, all right, great. No more
Forever.
vegetables.
Rest of her life.
I mean, thank God for yogurt, because
Yeah.
George will eat yogurt, and it's like, yogurt, that's healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Apart
sure.
from that, it's just tough. And that's I don't have a wonderful relationship with food. Weird conversational swivel here, I suppose, but I believe so much, I think, in eating with people, and that for me is certainly part of it. And I think I said this earlier, like, there's vulnerability in it. Like, I literally, if I'm going to eat in front of you, I am making myself vulnerable, which means I trust you. Like, I will not eat in front of you if I don't trust you.
Right.
I
Yeah.
usually don't eat at parties because I don't want to eat in front of people, and then I get hammered drunk and super in trouble for my wife. So it's like,
So,
yeah.
speaking of that, I have a question.
Okay.
Thinking about like the opposite of being at home with family, but like the dating world.
Ooh.
Back in the day or currently, would you guys rather have a date and have a meal at home at one of your prospective places, or would you rather go out to eat for a date?
All right. I need some qualifiers here.
Okay.
Is this a first date?
Not a first date. Let's
Okay.
not a first
Fourth
date.
date.
Yeah, I want to. Yes,
Fourth date?
Fourth date.
I
Fourth
think,
date.
honestly, like, I think as we've kind of established here, like, cooking for someone shows that you care. If I really like somebody, I think that, like, independent, like, I've made good meals for people. I've made not good meals for people, like, trying to make a good meal, but I fuck up somewhere. I think, to Colin's point, like, showing your vulnerability, if you actually like somebody, I think doing that is actually a really special thing, especially that early.
Yeah, I'm saying eating is vulnerable, but cooking is arguably even more vulnerable.
Yeah,
because
yeah, I
nobody
think- I
wants
think
to have
all
a
of
thing
it.
that is bad, right? So,
But
yeah.
if you also nail it, like, then you look super awesome.
like,
And that has
"Ooh, this
happened
guy's a catch."
one
Like,
time. So
Have you ever judged someone on what they ordered when you went out to eat?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are
Really?
you kidding?
Well, to go back to the first question, I'm at the house. I'm at the crib cooking.
Yeah.
Third, fourth date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not first date though. No.
Get a little
no
seal
way.
going.
No. way.
Yeah.
Kiss
Pop on a little Netflix. You know?
Netflix and chili.
Yeah, man. Not chili.
Netflix and chill. Ooh, nothing like. That's a
what
good
was the
date.
second
food.
question?
Good delayed reaction from everyone there. I like that. All right.
Don't be a rapper. What was the second question?
Yeah. the judging someone for what they ordered.
Yes, if when you go out to eat.
all the time.
I think when I want to say I went on a date and we went to Marble and we both got burgers because I'd always talked up like, oh, their burger is really great, yada yada yada. And I mean the fact that I like know everybody there, I was like, oh, it's gonna make me kind of look cool, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
A little bit, or super lame.
Hard
Depends
task.
on how you. All right, man.
I mean, that's the joke I was making.
So she ordered her burger well done, and I was like, oh no, I don't like that. I
Okay,
don't
so
like
it wasn't
that
even
one
what
bit.
she ordered, but how she ordered it.
Yeah, I'll own that I'm a pretty big snob. I think that's why Alex and I get along very well, because we are both super big snobs
Yeah, you
about that kind
align.
of stuff. Yeah, we align in that. We both her mom is a great cook, my mom's a great cook.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up with great food in the house that I think we both definitely took for granted, and now
Mm-hmm.
that like we don't have that every day, we're both like, oh fuck, our parents are actually really good. But with that also came just like I had a pretty high threshold of like what's good food and how things should be prepared and what should be what.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am very petty about that kind of stuff. So I absolutely judge on those kind of things for sure.
Yeah.
I think that people who go out to like a nice restaurant, who go out to eat,
Yeah.
and they order like chicken fingers, it's just like it like grinds my gears. It's like try something new, or like if you're not sure what you like get something in the realm that you know you might like it, or like ask questions. Like don't just like I'm just gonna, you know what, I don't really know what I want. I'm gonna get the chicken fingers. It's like I will punch you in the throat.
I agree with that. I think there's some I've had obviously with like I just said, like I love food and I love trying new food and all that kind of stuff. And like to your point, like trying different things at a restaurant. Oh, they do this very well, or they do that very well, or there's these specials today, or you know whatever the case may be. And like I would have people that I'd meet that would kind of feign the same interest of like, oh, I love eating, I love going to different places, but that would end up happening where it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna get like this really boring thing. Like every time I'm just like how much you really
Here's my reasoning behind it is because like if we're at this restaurant and you order chicken fingers, like I love chicken fingers, but like I don't want them from here. I want to go to the best chicken finger place in our area to like get them. So we're gonna sell if you want chicken fingers, like communicate that, because I'll be into them, but
Sure.
I want them from like a place I want them from, like
Yeah.
a place that's gonna do some char pit barbecue chicken fingers. I'll house all day, not
Yeah.
just so like I'm gonna get them from this weird restaurant here. That's just a letdown.
I'm with
know?
you.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think
I feel like this can also extend outside of just dating. I think this is just like going out to dinner with anybody.
Sure.
Oh, right?
sure,
Like
yeah.
eating with anyone.
sure.
The get 8 drinks and then split and try to split the bill. Those people. It's like, nah, man, nah.
No, that's not cool.
Nah, we're not doing that.
I get food envy. So
Oh, really?
I like a lot of food. There's not a lot of food I don't like. So when I'm sitting down looking at a good menu,
Yeah.
I'm like, is whoever I'm with gonna order something,
Right.
and I'm gonna be super jealous that I didn't order
Yeah.
it. But more so than like, do I judge what the other person orders? Like, I don't want to order what they order. Like,
Oh, absolutely.
You got to order something separate, something different.
That's the thing. Like you have to be comfortable enough in your group and in your own self to communicate to the table of like what you want. Because like if we're out to eat, I'm like, what are you getting? I'm getting this. Oh, that looks good. If I get this, would you be willing to like share, or like can I? So you should communicate that.
Yeah.
And like that way everyone's happy.
Those-
I tried it. It's your dish, but I want to try
Right.
it. So now maybe I know what I want for next time.
I want to be
agree.
the emperor of the universe, but you know what? You can't always get what you want. Keep your fucking
you
mouth
are
off my food.
You are an anti-sharer. I know.
Yeah. See,
With
I'm-
food, I'll share everything in my life,
Yeah.
My God.
but I'm not allowed to share my food. I do it all the time. I've gotten better at it.
I'm not saying like
Dude.
the whole dish, but let me get a
No.
little taste.
To be fair, I'm also usually eating chicken fingers, and well whiskey.
But I think like last night going to Dapper Goose, we got almost like half the menu. because we all just
Yeah.
wanted to share. It was like 4 of us out for dinner, and we just shared every single thing that we got.
What was your favorite thing?
Oh man,
The chicken.
we actually did get chicken. That was
Spell
really good.
joke.
Alex and I love their cauliflower that they do, like a lightly fried cauliflower with a green goddess like dressing.
And Fritos cheese sauce on the side.
Yeah, right on the side. Always, I ask for it. But that is exceptional. We
Yeah.
actually got 2 plates of that because we love it so much. We knew that like we were gonna go through it for sure.
Great.
But like those kind of dinners, like whenever I go out with my brother, or like I definitely have a few friends that are like way into food, and that's just the move.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're at a new place that we want to check out, we're all getting a bunch of different stuff. We're all gonna
Yep.
split it. We're all gonna try a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I love that way. I'm set on that way. I used to kind of be in Colin's camp of like, I got my thing. I'm gonna eat it. No offense. I just want this for me.
Sometimes, I mean, there's a time and place for that, I feel.
For sure.
You know,
Yeah, I
like-
get that.
I'm the shame of Lindsay's family because they all like give each other perfect bites, and
No,
I'm
I
just,
don't- no,
I'm
I don't
like,
do that.
I try. I've gotten a lot better at it, but it's just not my natural instinct.
Yeah.
I want to eat my food in about 13 and a half seconds, and then sit there and wallow in my shame. That's
Let
how I
me
like to
enjoy
live
my
life,
shame.
You know, yeah. So
I want to end on this. Like, what is
I want to end on Colin's shame.
I usually do.
what's either your best or worst food experience, like in a group? Like you're either out to eat, whatever. Like, give me a best or worst story.
A worst for me, and I'm not going to go to a specific spot, but a worst for me is when it's a big group and I get caught at an end with someone who doesn't like feel the energy that I'm feeling by being in that big group.
I feel that.
And so they're just like not engaging with me in conversation,
Yeah.
or they are, but like I have to do all this heavy lifting. Like
Yeah.
that is like an overall worst for me.
Yeah, I think any meal, there's like one in the back of my mind, but I don't want to like call.
It doesn't have to be like a meal. It could be like an experience. Or
I
like
think it's just anything. I always hate when people feel obligated to be at something. So like I'll do like a birthday dinner with like a few friends every year. Like when I say a few, like one year it was 16 people all wanted to go out to dinner. One year it was just like
He's a lead
4
singer
of
in a
us.
band, everyone.
humble brag.
But I hate when, like, I've had people come out to a place, and I have friends who have like dietary restrictions, stuff like that. I have friends who are vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, whatever. But that come to a place and are just visibly like not into it. And in this way of like, they could have known what they were getting themselves into, or they could have just said no, they didn't have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I hate like anyone who feels an obligation to be somewhere who visibly is not having a good time. Because I think in those kind of surroundings, especially when it's like in that case, it's dinner where it's my birthday and I want these people here. If not everyone's having a good time, I will wear that and feel that and like a little too much, and it kind of drags on me. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Just like if you're not feeling it, if you don't want to come, if you're not feeling the restaurant, just you don't have to be there.
Peace.
That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think those kind of meals upset me when
Yeah.
someone's just, if you're not feeling it, you don't have to be there. And just
Yeah.
I'm
Say
with
no.
you. I'm with you. Well, Jared, it looks like 2 of us have to end on a positive note because the 2 of them had some.
you guys got great stories?
I've actually got a really nice story on the positive side.
Okay.
But do your thing.
I want to bring up a tradition that we haven't done in a couple of years. I think Rink and Drink. Remember Rink and Drink?
Oh, Rink and Drink is awesome.
So our group of friends started a tradition we did annually where it was in the middle of winter when Buffalo sucks.
Like February, like the worst.
Yeah,
month.
holidays
Yeah.
over and everything is gray and
February
black.
is definitely the worst month.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. We would we go ice skating.
nice.
And then I'll go back to somebody's house, and we featured it around wine. So everybody brought a bottle of wine and a dish to go along with it. And it was either a theme, like, so either your bottle of wine was from like a country, so you had to like make a dish from that country, or it was like you did the appetizer, this person did the meal, this person did the dessert.
Sure.
all of those were absolutely awesome.
Nice.
And even the first one, I think the first one was in Rob and Jess's apartment on Lexington, right? It was like tiny. Like the living room was like as big as this.
Yeah, I think
Living room and kitchen.
I only went to the one at your house.
Oh, okay. Well, that was
Didn't make
one.
the cut, huh?
I know. Sorry, Helen. I think that was the
often
first one.
don't,
I have
yeah.
a bad memory. I think that was the first one. But so it was like a small place, and like all of us kind of shoved in there, and we would like, and none of us knew anything about anything. We were, I don't know, however old we were, but we would like talk about the wine, and we like poured wine for everybody, and it was really engaging, and like everything that we're talking about today of gathering together, eating a meal,
Yeah.
and like talking through it, and just like laughing and teasing each other, and we were all kind of like sitting on like counters and edges of couches and chairs and stuff, but we were all together like in one room and doing our thing. It was awesome.
That's great.
Do you still do it?
When was the last time we did it? Batten's house, maybe.
I think so. I've been trying to. Maybe we'll
We
do it
gotta
this
bring it
February.
back. Let's bring it back.
Yeah, there's an ice rink like right down the street from my house. It's like perfect.
Done.
There you go.
Pick the day.
Too far of a drive.
Jared, what do you got?
So right when I graduated high school, me and my best friend Bennett, we were captains for our football team, and then we stayed on the next year to like help coach JV. And so right before like the varsity playoffs next year, all the coaches go out to Brunner's on Main over there.
Oh yeah,
And we didn't know.
That's Rob's dad's place.
Yeah, we didn't know shit about shit at that point. So, and I would go to Brenner's because it's another good friends of mine. Like we would go there all the time. So like we were sitting at the bar, like having a beer, and like, we're like part of the coaching team, and like and they order like steak sandwiches for us, and we we're 17, 18. We didn't have money to get steak sandwiches, but they just ordered it for us, not asking like how we like our steak cooked or anything like that. And we weren't like at that time like the adventurous eaters, whatnot.
Sure.
And we get these two like rare steaks sandwiches in front of us, and like they just sit them down, and like I just like look at my buddy and I go, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, it was like still alive. And he's like, "Well, we can't." He's like, "I can't eat this. I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up." I was like, "Dude, you gotta eat it." And so they were, we're like at the bar, and I just see this huge bottle of like steak sauce, and I just cover this thing in steak sauce and just
like close your eyes.
I close my eyes so hard and just try to get through that thing because you don't want to be like soft in front of your coaches, so you just swallow the whole thing.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
like the most. We still talk about it to this day. It was like the most painful like
my
eating
God.
experience ever.
Well, that's like soft in front of your coaches, and also like they're buying it for you. Right?
Yeah,
so you
I
don't
can't
be
be
like
like,
ungrateful.
"Hey,
right?
can you put this back on the grill for like another hour or something?"
Or however long it takes to it wasn't cooked at all.
You only had to eat it. You just had to eat it. So yeah, that was. Yeah, we still talk about that. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome.
I do have a good one I'll bring up just because Christian from Marble and Rye just walked in. We went up.
A lot of Marble Rye on this podcast.
Oh, it's about food.
It's true, but this actually isn't about Marble and Rye. This is about. Do you remember Jaguar on the Bistro? Jaguar at the Bistro?
I've never been
Yes.
there.
So we had heard about it, and this was kind of at a time where Donnie was becoming like my brother. Donnie was becoming good friends with Christian and Mike, and so we all went up to Jaguar at the Bistro together, and we had a dinner up there. We had like a late reservation. We were the last people in the restaurant. Victor Pere Gonzalez came out and sat at the table. None of us had met him. We just knew that his food was kind of getting rave reviews. And he sat with us and like told some stories. We tried some mezcal. We were there for like 3 hours, but it was just
my
like a
God.
really fun time, and like kind of solidified my friendship with Christian and Mike, and like, oh man, these guys are really great. So that was like a really nice bonding moment, I
Yeah.
think, for all of us. Kind of a nice
Just the first time Lindsay cooked for me was just awesome. And
Shout out to
never
Lindsay.
forget it. So,
Shout out to Lindsay.
shrimp and tomatoes, shrimp, otherwise known as shrimp and potatoes. Lindsay, I love you. Happy anniversary.
It is your anniversary today. Shout Shout out to Lynn. Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get some shrimp and potatoes.
It's a Friday night. I don't want that shit. I want something deep fried tonight. But,
Deep fried shrimp.
You haven't had enough?
Deep fried shrimp with marinara sauce. There you go.
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Cool. Well,
All
thanks,
right.
guys. This is
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
Now we're going to end with some ASMR.
Okay, we're done.
All right, thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. We really hope you enjoy it, and stick around and come back for the next one.
Yeah, really, really appreciate everyone kind of giving us their time on this platform. Please stay up to date with us. Follow us on Instagram at Mr. Smith Agency. Check out all of our work there. Also, visit our website, mrsmith.agency.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.